Yo, what's up, guys? It's I love rap infection here. Just a disclaimer before we start. All credit goes to Lincolntron and Beast Mode at 10. I'll also be adding their accounts as well in the description. But without further ado, let's get on with the tier list, I guess. So, first one up is Swagler. And they are in the very light tier. And in this tier, most of the characters here are not that threatening, I should say. Not really. But the reason why I put Swagler here is because, yes, they do have a knockback. They do have a basic attack. And they are a little fast, I should say. Not too fast, but also not too slow. But they lack very much in health. And they are very, very easily killed. And in order to really thrive with this character, you have to, be very careful. I also put Runner here because if you ever played as Runner, Runner is just very annoying. Not really a threat at all. Can be easily killed. Has only one attack, but is very fast. So give it credit for that. And I didn't get a picture of Molar, but you used to be able to play as Molar and Infector. I didn't put it there either. I forgot to. But they're also not that strong. And as for the Walker form, they are not threatening at all. They're very slow and only have one attack, no health at all, and the high mind produces them. So that's sort of it for the very light tier. And up next, we have the light tier. Here in this tier, some of the characters can be considered a bit of a threat, but not necessarily a huge threat or a moderate threat. In this tier, I just put Rusher, the attacker form, the Bile form, and the Stalker form. I put Rusher here because Rusher does have a heavy attack and swing claws, as well as attacker form does. But unlike attacker form, Rusher has a rush ability that lets it charge and it does damage. It's not that much of an upgrade. It's good, I'd say, but still it's not enough to get it to the moderate level. And same thing goes for attacker form. It's the level before Rusher, so it's obviously going to be in light, and it's not a big threat, barely enough damage to even say it's a threat. But moving on to Bile, Bile's very cool because it can explode once it dies. It has one basic attack. You can choose to explode whenever you want. This one isn't too much of a threat. If you're someone with a lot of melee attacks, I'd suggest you avoid it. For those with range attacks, it's no big problem, easily killed. It's just you're away from it, So still not enough to call it a moderate threat or a threat at all. And next up is the Stalker form. So the Stalker form's also cool because if you stand still, you can go invisible. It has a Swing Claws attack, which is a melee attack, and a Leech attack, which is a somewhat long-range attack. And I put it there because a lot of the times what will happen is you'll either get rushed by a mini gunner or a juggernaut, and if you have any of those characters on the opposite side, you're basically cooked. Not very fast too, so you can't really flee and get back to go get heals. You can try hiding. Some people won't recognize it, but it's not a huge threat at all. It's a bit of a threat, especially if you know how to use the character in a efficient way. And here we are in the moderate tier. So in this tier, the characters here are a threat, and in here we have the Summoner form, Brute form, Sprinter form, Breacher form, and Infected Machinery form. All these characters are a threat, and if you see them, you might you might want to run away or look for backup, especially if you're one of those not so big tanky characters. But to start off, we have the Summoner. The Summoner is in the moderate tier because ever since the update, he got a pretty powerful tower. It had I don't remember what it's called, but it's like the little shooting sport thing, and that thing is very powerful. It's not a heavy because it doesn't have a lot of health, and it can be killed easily, especially if the character is catched off guard without being near any of their heals or their towers. And with Brute is fast. It does a bit of damage actually. And it can go back to get heals. I'm not putting it at heavy because it doesn't have a lot of health. It has a good amount of health. But it's not enough to say it's like very threatening. It's somewhat threatening. It can be caught off guard by a tank or a juggernaut. Other than that, there's also the sprinter form. So the reason why I put sprinter form here, even though it is much more than brute, the sprinter form, when it does its leap, it does pause for a minute, which makes it very, very vulnerable. That vulnerability will cause it to die very fastly, and once it dies, it's dead. So, yeah. Breacher form. Breacher form is a very good character. Very, very powerful. It's not heavy because of its health. It's slow, and the cooldown for the barrel is a little bit. It's not a lot. It's a good cooldown, but you would have no time to flee or escape. Damage for Breacher is also it's pretty good actually. But like I said, once you pop up from the barrel and onto the enemy, you're basically defenseless, and probably depending on the character that you're trying to attack, it can probably outrun you and kill you if it has a ranged attack also. So yeah, that's why I put it in moderate. But next up we have infected machinery. Now it is in the moderate and not in the heavy because yet again speed and health. It's not that heavy brute sort of tank kind of health. So, but it's good health. So that's why it's in moderate. And it does have one ranged attack, which I think is pretty decent. And one melee, it can it's called right hook. It does good amount of damage, and it is a threat, but not a huge threat because it is also vulnerable to range damage, especially if you're faster than infected machinery. You can just run away and just keep shooting it. And as we're finished up with the moderate tier, we're on to the heavy tier. Now in the heavy tier, we have high mind form and tank form. Both of these forms are very good. They're not in very heavy because they don't have as much health as Bastion or Bulwark, and they don't do as much damage as Bastion or Bulwark. The hive mind form is in here because it can cause a distraction. It's basically like a distraction almost. I think it's a very good character. I don't know if some people think it's useless. I think it's a very good character because all those mobs provide a distraction, and it gives you time to, I guess, flee back, especially if you need someone else back you up and you need someone to take care of your problems for you. But that's why it's in heavy. And for tank form, I put it there because, dude, tank form is deadly, but it can be killed if it is greeted with a medium tank or rocketeer form or any of those kind that do big range damage. But it's here because it's a very good character. It can self-heal. It even has passive healing. It has an ability where it can literally one-shot, I don't remember which character, but it can one-shot one of the characters, and it does a good amount of damage, but not that fast, so that's another reason why it's also kind of there, but it can be smothered and killed with decent ease, but not too easy. And last but not least is the very heavy tier. So in this tier we have Bastion and I called it Bulwark on accident. It's infected heavy machinery. But the reason why I put both these ones here is because they both do a lot of damage, and they both have a lot of health. So it's pretty reasonable, I'd say, for putting both in here. And these two are a very big threat. And if you see them, literally just run away. And that's basically it for that tier. And we have, of course, the super heavy tier. In that tier, there is, of course, the one and only Dreadnought. And the Dreadnought is the strongest of them all. They can heal others. They do massive amounts of damage. They do passive damage, and they have lots of health. So it's unreasonable for me to put them there. And that's basically everything for all the tiers. So if you guys like this tier list for Rapid Infection 2, let me know. And remember, make sure to check out this game. This game is amazing, I swear. It's on Roblox. It's called Rapid Infection 2, and it's by Linkatron67. I don't know why he put that as his thing, but Linkatron67 and Beast Mode Ed 10. You guys should definitely check it out.